Yeah, that was a lot of noise. And I am using the laugh track, so that was also done by me. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Cornelius English Show. I'm your host, Cornelius English. There have been a lot of interesting stories in the news these last few weeks. To start off, Donald Trump went to SneakerCon in Philadelphia a couple of weeks ago. For those of you who don't know, SneakerCon is a convention for people known as sneakerheads, otherwise known as black people. Trump went there to sell limited edition Trump-branded shoes for $399. This is shortly after the $355 million ruling against him by the state of New York. The shoes are being sold as Never Surrender high tops. For SneakerCon attendees, not surrendering and being high is probably a common pastime. Yes, that is a black joke, thank you. Resisting arrest and getting high, I don't know. Those seem like common hobbies. Alright, I'll stop. This is episode 1, so no one's watching this. You might think that joke is racist, but the Associated Press reported, and I quote, as he spoke, referring to Trump, the smell of weed occasionally wafted through the room. So there is that. Not really sure if I pronounced wafted right, but I said it, so that means it's true. After attending SneakerCon in Philly, Trump headed to Detroit, Michigan to hold a rally. Philly to Detroit, it's an interesting choice. You know whose vote share he's targeting this time around. He's given up on the suburban white ladies. It's time for other groups. I like observing people on social media. It's funny to go on social media and look at a post of some black Trump supporters and then look at the comments section. It's always stuff like, the people are finally waking up. They're finally waking up. But yeah, this is what I do in my free time. I observe things in a very unemployed fashion. Also for Trump, it is funny to be in two black cities and decide to sell basketball shoes while complaining about court cases. That is objectively funny. There's a quote from Trump recently where he said, I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time, and a lot of people said that's why the black people like me. And looking at the polls, I think that's probably true. And now, what is Joe Biden doing? Well, he's having various fried chicken dinners with black families. I want to know who decided this was a good idea. It might actually work, I don't know. I don't know how to run a campaign. So yeah, that's how that's going. Speaking of urban youth, a recent New York Times Siena poll found that Donald Trump leads Joe Biden by 5 points in the national vote. And I know you're not supposed to look at the crosstabs, but he's getting 23% of the black vote, which is an 11% increase from 2020. So maybe getting in legal trouble and then proceeding to sell basketball shoes is more effective than eating fried chicken with black families. Just a guess, though. So that was my fake monologue. Our guest today is interesting. President Joe Biden is here. So I'll be talking to him soon. And now we'll be moving on to our first segment of the program. Please enjoy. Racism has long been a significant aspect of this country's history, and we've been at the forefront of that. But the times have changed, and it's time we do too. We here at the Ku Klux Klan, otherwise known as the KKK, have recently made some changes to our organizational policies, and we'd like to share them with you. For quite some time now, our membership rates have been declining year over year. We've realized that we simply cannot afford to exist as an organization if we continue to limit access to all the fun. So here's what we decided to do about it. From this day onwards, Lightskins are now permitted to join the KKK, and no genetic test is required. If you happen to be light-skinned and you'd like to join, you just submit an application online. You simply have to present a valid form of photo ID, such as a passport or a driver's license, and then schedule a virtual interview. During the virtual interview, our advanced AI algorithms will scan your photo ID and webcam footage to intelligently evaluate the color of your skin. This algorithm will then let us know if you really are a good fit for the KKK. Of course, the in-person evaluation process is also very important to us. If the virtual interview goes well and the AI deems you worthy, we'll invite you to spend a day on the nearest Klan campus near you. For example, Patrick Mahomes, he passes our AI filter and also passes the in-person evaluation. Colin Kaepernick, he passes the initial AI filtering procedure due to his light skin, but he fails the in-person evaluation after a thorough background check due to his history of terrorism. Some individuals, such as Lamar Jackson, may fail the AI filter, but they can request a manual review for thorough inspection. Now, some long-standing members within our community have expressed doubts about this change, so to appease them, we will be instituting a policy where the light-skinned members will have to use separate bathrooms, water fountains, and things of that sort. But just because you're separate doesn't mean you're not equal. So what are you waiting for? Join today. Whether you're half black, half brown, or whatever, if you're half white, then you're half alright. Well, folks, it's time for our special guest today. Fresh from the State of the Union a few days ago, please welcome President Joe Biden.
Hey there, it's nice to be here. Congratulations on the new show.
Thank you, Joe, and thanks for coming on.
It's my pleasure.
So I watched the State of the Union. You were very high energy throughout. Is this something to expect from you from now on, or was that just a result of some special chemical cocktail they cooked up for you?
Look, my team, they gave me, they gave me, have you ever seen Space Jam?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, well, in Space Jam, they have the juice, they have the secret juice. Well, they have Michael's secret juice, Michael Jordan, that is, and they gave me something like that.
Was it Hunter's secret juice?
I guess you could say it's something like that, but that would probably be more of a powder. Regardless, in Space Jam, the secret juice isn't actually real. It was within the players all along.
Ah, okay, so you're saying you had the energy all along. You didn't need anything for it.
That's right.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's change topics. I wanted to ask about the election. You're currently down in the polls in each of the key battleground states, and you've been losing support among young voters and minorities in particular, which are key voting blocks for Democrats. How do you plan on getting these voters back on your side, and what can you say right now during this interview to convince them?
Well, I'd say quite clearly, Donald Trump is a crook, he's a criminal, and he's a threat to democracy. That's all there is to it, Jack.
My name's not Jack, but how does this address the key groups directly? I feel like this is just a general pitch to the population at large.
I'll say this. I've known many blacks my whole life. In fact, I was vice president under a black president, that is. And I've never met a single black who didn't vote against Trump. That's all there is to it. And the young people, well, they're upset about Israel and the situation in Gaza, and I'm working on that. But voting for me is in their best interest. I want to forgive student loan debt. I want to lower housing costs, lower drug prices, and a whole lot of other things. I mean, what else is there to it?
Would you try to get any of those things done prior to the election so that it might actually affect voters' perceptions of you, or are you just going to promise it for a second term?
Well, listen, I need the votes, I need the Congress, and if the people can get me a Senate and House majority, I can codify Roe and protect a woman's right to choose. I can forgive student loans. I can do these things. Look, I was a young man once. I know it doesn't look like I've ever been young, but I was, and I had these ideals. But I realize you gotta work with what you got, Jack.
You brought up your age. This has probably been the biggest issue for you in the polls. Voters simply don't believe you're fit for office due to your advanced age.
Though it's advanced, all right.
Right, I mean, yeah.
It's real advanced.
Anyway, I think in a recent poll, more than 75% of voters said that they thought you were too old to be president, and then for Trump, it was a little over 50%. So how can you address this? It's not like you can change your age. Is the plan just to do more interviews like this one, hopefully perform well, and then expect Trump's legal troubles and controversies to catch up to him?
Look, I don't think the American people will vote for my predecessor. I beat him once, and I'll beat him again. The guy doesn't care about democracy, not one bit. Not to mention, he's got 91 indictments. 91. You couldn't get more indictments than that.
You can get 92.
That might be right. You might be right about that. But 91, that's a hell of a lot of indictments, man. This guy's a complete crook.
He calls you Crooked Joe now, kind of like Crooked Hillary instead of Sleepy Joe. You have any thoughts on that?
Not so sleepy now, huh? I'm awake. I'm awake, man.
Are you saying that you're woke? Is that what you're saying?
There's nothing wrong with a little common decency, but that's something my predecessor lacks.
All right, well, anyway, I take it that your answer is essentially that Trump's criminal indictments overshadow the concerns about your age, and then beyond that, you make the standard policy argument about why you think your policies are better suited for the voting population than his. Have I got that right?
I'd say that's right. I mean, look, I'm old. We can all see that. I'm old, but with age comes experience. Look what I've gotten done over the past few years. I brought us out of COVID. I helped recover the economy. People complain about gas prices, but now those are down too. Those Republicans, they don't talk about that anymore, do they? I passed an infrastructure bill that'll create new jobs here in the United States. I've done these things. So yeah, I'm old, but I can deliver for the American people.
That makes sense. All right. Well, I wanted to ask about Roe v. Wade. So you're pro-choice, meaning you support the legality of abortion, at least up to 23 weeks, as protected by Roe v. Wade. Now, people have accused you, and this is people, not me, of course, I would never, but people have accused you of sniffing babies. There are a lot of videos of you sniffing young children, too. If abortion is legal, meaning there will be fewer babies, wouldn't there also be fewer babies for you to sniff?
I've honestly never thought about it like that. That's a good point.
Would you consider changing your mind on this issue if that turned out to be true?
Well, I'd have to discuss it with my team, but if it could affect the quantity of potential sniffable children, I would be concerned. I really would. It's something I really care about.
That makes sense. All right. I'll ask that again next time you're on in case you've discussed it and you have other thoughts. I have one final question for you. Corn Pop, good dude or bad dude?
Oh, Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. But I wasn't scared, not one bit. And that's the kind of leadership this country needs.
All right, well, thanks for coming on today. We'll have to do this again sometime.
It's no problem. I enjoyed it. You smell nice too, Jack.
President Joe Biden, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I really do.